I quit smoking weed after nearly a decade of non-stop smoking. Yo, I was stoning all day, every day, and 11 days ago, I quit cold turkey. So some of you might have watched my video diary of week 1 being sober. Yo, I know I showed my ass in that video, but really I wanted to keep it real with you guys. Hi, my name is Janice Iche and welcome back to my channel. As usual, I'm so happy to be here with you. Let's get into this video. So I started smoking weed when I was 19. At that time, I was just starting to realize and understand the kind of generational trauma that my family was dealing with. I remember that whole experience just being so very shocking, and I was experiencing a lot of disillusionment. So smoking weed helped me cope with understanding how all my family's toxicity and the intergenerational trauma, how it shaped me as a person and how it had impacted me. It was very hard for me to realize that. So I picked up weed particularly because of that. I noticed how when I would smoke, it would just make me feel lighter. Like I would think about other things and not about the stuff that I was going through. So weed became a friend to me at 19 years old. By 21, I was smoking every day. By 21, I was no longer waiting to find it with other people. I was looking for it, sourcing it myself, rolling it myself, and smoking by myself. Generally, smoking weed has always helped me cope with trauma, the loneliness that came from the trauma, and being a highly sensitive person in a toxic home environment. That was particularly hard for me because when you're a child and you are not an adult yet, you feel really powerless. And so smoking weed just helped me cope with that. Smoking has always provided me companionship. Weed was that friend that I could always turn to, knowing that they would never shame me or guilt me for the feelings that I carried. I was a very anxious person. I had the anxiety disorder. As someone who has dealt with anxiety disorder since childhood, smoking weed had a way of calming me down that made me just fall in love with it. Then again, once I moved out of Nairobi and back to my parents' house in Mombasa, smoking weed really helped me mute the pain of surviving sexual violence. The sexual assault I experienced really messed up my nervous system, and I was truly always in a state of fight or flight mode. I wasn't in control of myself or my body. Weed helped me return to my body and feel my body again. I mentioned in this previous video that after the trauma I endured in Nairobi, I was stuck in the cosmos for months. Weed really helped bring me back down to earth by bringing me back into my body. I really started relying on that physical rush that smoking weed would give me. It was comforting and it reminded me that I'm still here. The inner dialogue that smoking weed would incite was really my guardian angel, and I really trusted that voice. On top of that, rolling weed was my meditation. I took it very seriously and my blunts were always perfect. Not a single seed or stem, and the shape of my blunts would always be... I prided myself in that. But then I got to a point that I couldn't do anything without smoking weed first. It initially didn't bother me, but I started to notice how I was being ruled by weed. Feeling much healed this year, smoking weed began to feel like this thing I was just doing for the sake of it. Undeniably, smoking weed helped me love and enjoy life during my darkest years. In the moments that I felt ready to take my life, weed was the one thing that reminded me that I still enjoyed being here and that there were still things I loved about being alive. So we gotta give that to Mary Jane, you know? We gotta give that to weed because it really held me down when there was no one else around me to hold me down like that. That voice in my head that I got after smoking was so important to me, and so I really held weed to like a really high esteem. I valued this plant wewe so much because it it was really truly there for me when no one else or nothing else was. This quitting journey has been about rewarding myself for doing all that healing work to uncover the strength that was trampled on by all the trauma that I went through. I no longer need a substance to bring it out of me. As a survivor, I feel so proud and accomplished about this. On this journey of coming back out into the world as a survivor of sexual abuse, quitting weed is about nurturing a deeper relationship with myself. Lastly, I want to mention one more thing I believe was a major influence on me picking up smoking weed as a habit. In 2018, I lost a great love of mine. He passed away. He was a smoker, but not weed. He loved his cigars and cigarillos. Our relationship had ended prematurely, and he was truly someone that I loved with all my heart and all my life. We used to smoke together. I'd smoke my weed and he would smoke his cigars. So when he passed on, I kept the habit of smoking really close to me, and those became the moments that I really dedicated to remembering him. Until the very day that I quit, I always thought of him when I was smoking weed. I didn't want to let smoking go because it always felt like I was letting go of him, but I know that he would want me to be free, and he would be so proud of me. Before I go, I wanted to list down some of the negative effects of long-term smoking that I experienced. Definitely the addiction and reliance. I don't want to be a slave to anything. It was really scary understanding that I had gotten to the point where I felt like I couldn't do anything without smoking weed first. That's not a place I'd want to be. I think it's always good to know that you don't need anything to be a certain version of yourself. I also started experiencing dental hygiene issues, especially this year. Things like bad breath, sores, my teeth at the bottom starting to brown. Nah, girl, nah. It's not that serious, right? No, I was like, no. My health was starting to just take a toll. And like I said, I quit smoking weed because of my health primarily. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I have PCOS, and I know that smoking just aggravates the symptoms of PCOS. This is me trying to really take control of my health and not drive myself further into detrimental health. Another negative effect of long-term smoking was shortness of breath, difficulty in breathing, especially when it would get to like evening time. My nose particularly would get clogged up, and I couldn't inhale well. Even when I was swimming, I just noticed that my lung capacity was really suffering, and I knew that had to do with the smoking. Another thing I started experiencing was my skin not looking so lustrous anymore. I've always had really great glowy skin, so I started noticing that my skin was definitely starting to suffer because of all the smoking. I'm sure that's because of oxygen not circulating well within the body. Another thing, which I assume is also because of that, is lethargy and just always having low energy, just always feeling tired, especially when it gets to evening time. Exhausted. Energy levels were really low. Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, for those of us who have PCOS, I noticed definitely that the smoking was triggering diabetes. And this happens, PCOS, if not managed well, can develop into worse illnesses. So I knew it was time to take control of my health. If you've experienced any other long-term effects of smoking weed, drop them in the comments, let me know. But yeah, we don't talk about this enough. So I guess now I can give you a quick update on my quitting journey. I am currently on day 11. This week has been great. I've been feeling okay. I was feeling a little weird after sharing myself like that in the previous video. Not because I was vulnerable, but because of how I was feeling that people were perceiving me. I got unsubscribed. I mean, it's okay. I'm not for everyone, but it just made me feel a little sad that we still live in a world where emotions and feelings are frowned upon, and I'm not certain why. I wish you guys could comment and tell me why we are so scared of allowing ourselves to feel, or even allowing other people to feel their feelings. As someone who's always been highly sensitive, feeling my feelings has never been something I'm ashamed of, you know. I've always actually questioned why other people feel a certain way about feelings. I don't know, but it had me feeling like from when did I post the video? On Monday. Yeah, from Monday, Tuesday, I was feeling a little weird. I was feeling a little raw. I was feeling a little judged by my audience. I'm reminding myself why I wear my vulnerability so openly. You know, I was even saying like, you'd rather judge me for the things I was saying rather than for being vulnerable itself, you know? Vulnerability is something I always want to encourage in people. Because if you can feel your feelings, that means that we can all hold each other with care when those times come. Because this life, again, this is not the first time I'm saying this on this channel, but life is not all rosy. And I really wish we wouldn't pretend that it was. I want to be real, you know, and even if those feelings are, you know, it seems like I was complaining. I guess I was, but like, let me complain, you know, for a few, and then we can go back to being happy. But I always want to be real and just show that not everyone has it good or all the time. It's not every day that's a great day, you know? And I think as the sooner we release that shame and those expectations that people should always be good, the sooner that we get to just be free and be human beings and not judge each other for it. So that's how I've been feeling this week. I'm not ashamed of my feelings, but it does feel kind of bad to be judged for feeling. I'm going strong though. Like, I actually don't want to smoke for a long time. I'll see how far I can go. I'm heading to Nairobi next week. I don't know how that's gonna go with this, but I'm hoping that I will say no. If I don't, no pressure, but I'm gonna keep you guys updated. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to support my channel. I'm really grateful for all of you being here with me. I'm gonna be vlogging my trip to Nairobi. I'm going for a music exchange workshop, so that should be fun. And I'm also going to be performing, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And until next time, take care. Bye.